Hello, my name is Jim. Welcome to my booktube channel about books and reading and stuff. I've seen many booktubers do their end of the year TBR. Well, this will be my end of the year TBR, or as I prefer to call it, my December TBR. First, November. In November my TBR had 10 books, of which I read 3 from the TBR. I also read a 4th book and I listened to one on Audible. In November I read Genghis Khan. This was a 4-star read for me. I also read Gilgamesh the King by Robert Silverberg, which was a 3-star read, and I talk about both of these in my non-fiction November here. I also read The Devil in the Red Dirt by Michael P. Smith. This was Australian noir. This was a 5-star read for me. This was really good. I want to talk about it more next month when I finish Red Road by Roger Wheatley, which is also set in the Australian outback. And I read Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I enjoyed this. It's a young adult magic novel. I loved the premise about there being 4 parallel Londons, and there's this type of magician called an Antari, Kel, who's able to go between the 4 Londons, and there's the Londons are named after colours. Our own world London is Grey London, and this is set in the Regency period, and we start with Kel visiting the King, King George, who's off his rocker and there's a regent in place. And Kel is from Red London. Red London is a London where there's still magic. There's also a black and a white London. Black London is sealed off, and white London is a very dark and formidable place where there's a lot of violence, a place which has lost its magic. It was an enjoyable read. I think the world building could have been better, particularly with Red London. We don't learn a lot about Red London, even though most of the action takes place there, but I wasn't bored with this book and I would give it 4 stars. I listened to The Stand on Audible. This was an experiment to see how I got on with Audible. I had some issues with Audible. They tried to bill me twice, and so I cancelled my subscription, but I still got to listen to The Stand. A cynic would say that I just got the free subscription, the free trial, just so I could get one of the longest books on Audible, but that wasn't the case. And I hope to put a video out about my experiences of listening to a book rather than reading a book. I also had 2 books on the go from November. I read some more of Little Dorrit by Charles Dickens, which I'll continue into December. This will be on my December TBR. I found the chapter with the Circumlocution Office where no one knows what's going on. It's very difficult to get anything out of the civil servants. Very Kafkaesque. Usually I like Kafka, but maybe not so much in my Dickens. This kind of stopped my reading of Little Dorrit for a while, but it's back on my TBR for December. I also started The Library, A Fragile History. I read the first 6 chapters. It's very good. It's going through the history of the library from ancient Egypt through Rome, and now I'm reading about the Reformation, and Leo X is ordering people to burn any books of Martin Luther, and the Protestants are much better. They're burning a lot of the Catholic books, so a lot of books get burnt in the 16th century, but because the printing press had been invented by Gutenberg at the end of the 15th century, there are now more books available than ever. It's a fascinating look at how books were kept and the role of libraries. So on to my December TBR. This will be less than usual. Usually I have 10 books on my TBR, but December I decided just to have 6. I haven't been able to read 10 books in any one month this year. The closest I got was August, where I read 9 books, but then I was away for a while, away from the internet, and I just was able to read a lot of books. December is usually a busy time because of Christmas and other things. The first book I have on my TBR is Mistborn. I asked on my community tab, what I should read next, and Mistborn garnered the most votes, at 39% of the votes, I think. So Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson is on my TBR. I also have The Vanishing Half. This has been on every TBR from September onwards. I still haven't got to it, and I should read it soon because Emma will be wanting it back. I borrowed it from Emma, who runs Tbilisi Book Swap. As I said, Little Dorrit is on my TBR. I've 130 pages into it, and December's a good time for reading Dickens. I've got Christmas Carol I could be reading and other Christmas stories by Dickens, but I think I'll stick with Little Dorrit. Then there's The Red Road by Roger Wheatley, set in northern Queensland in the outback. This will be the fourth book I've read by an Australian author this year, and I've been really impressed with what I've read so far. I really enjoyed The Cartographer's Secret by T. Cooper, a historical novel set in New South Wales, and I really enjoyed The Devil in the Red Dirt by Michael P. Smith, which was an Australian noir set in 1963, and it goes from Sydney and the corrupt police there to Alice Springs, Northern Territory. So I'm looking forward to Red Road. And the other two books are from NetGalley, The Library of Fragile History, which I've already mentioned, and The Botanist's Guide to Parties and Poisons by Kate Khavari, which looks like an interesting mystery. It's got a gorgeous cover. So those are my 6 books on my December TBR. I may pick up other ones. I've already picked up Homo Deus by Khavari because it fell under the $3 threshold on the Kindle Daily Reads. If you've read any of these books, you can let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video you can like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye. I had 2 books on my November TBR which I didn't get to, which I might read in the new year, but I'm not reading this month. This was The Good Thief's Guide to Venice, and also Turner. This is a biography of Turner with lots of his paintings. It's a Taschen book, but I didn't get to that. So maybe in the new year I'll